Right, while we're on the subject of Spurs, do you want to bring up Gareth Bale's current form, or
Well, yeah, let's go for it. I mean,
since you're in Spain, are the Spanish media having a good old giggle about this? Because if it is, I think you should drive to Madrid and kick a few of them in the stones.
well, I mean, when you meet someone new and they ask where you're from and you say Wales, it's the first thing they talk about. Ah, Gareth Bale, yeah. And then they'll say, oh, you can already speak more Spanish than he can. You know what I mean? And it gets
Well, you
old.
teach it, so
Well, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Gareth Bale, it's become a bit of a chicken and egg argument, isn't it? Like, has his form gone down because he hasn't played, or has his attitude gone because he hasn't played, or vice versa, and stuff like this? You know, so it's a difficult one to judge. But I think honestly, I think we were all expecting him to play more when he went to Spurs,
yeah.
you know, and he's coming to.
Why would they give him the number 9 shirt if they're not going to play him more often?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And I mean, he needs to run the games. I mean, that was the whole idea of him going to Spurs. I thought is that Spurs could offer him games, get him fit for the next year for Madrid. Say at the end of his contract, and there you go.
Yep.
But no, I don't know. The Spanish media here, I haven't seen much about it, but they are brutal. And the way it is in Spain, which is a bit strange, is that everybody has two teams. They have the team that's their team. Like here it's Celta Vigo because it's close to Vigo, or Deportivo La Coruña, and Madrid or Barcelona. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Which for
yeah,
me,
one of the big two as well.
Exactly. I mean, I can't say much because I'm a big Liverpool fan and a Wrexham fan, but it's a bit different. These people support two teams in the same league, and so it's always been strange to me. But anyway, yeah, like I said, it's the first thing that someone says when they say that you're Welsh. So, oh, Gareth Bale, and they'll start complaining and everything like this and saying, oh, he's this, he's that, and it baffles my head because the guy is literally one of the most decorated players for them. You know, he scored more goals than half of their like more than Fat Ronaldo, more than Zidane, more in less years than that as well. So I don't know. People have short memories, don't they? But yeah, here there's the general consensus that he's like yesterday's problem. That he's not something to worry about anymore. You know, Mourinho can scratch his head on him because there's no future for him back at Real, I don't think, unless Zidane goes and he has some, which is a big possibility, to be honest. But
are they performing at the minute? I don't really follow football that much.
So. Not bad. I mean, it's Atletico at the top. They sort of run away with it this year. Yeah, they've run away with it this year. But Barcelona and Real, it's a typical thing. They start badly, but the table takes shape after Christmas and they go up to second or third.
Not the Premier League, it doesn't.
Not the Premier League. No, the Premier League is just a massive headache this year, isn't it?
Oh, man. Fantasy football has given me a right kick in the teeth this year.
Oof, you've done shocking.
Still, I'm beating Johnny. I'm not in line for the wooden spoon and maybe the forfeit if circumstances dictate it possible.
Well, bloody Jack Bulger's smashing it.
Yeah, mate, he's doing right good. That's that daddy strength.
It's a nightmare. I keep swapping from first to third.
You're doing all right. It's me, this man. I'm bloody propping up the table, trying to keep Johnny away from me. Stay down there with Norwich.
Yeah, but with Gareth Bale, with Spurs, I think he literally just needs a run of games. If he doesn't get a run of games, he's never going to be what he was, So I think his attitude is fine. I don't see what everyone else is seeing, where he's sort of, just walking around. I don't see that at all. He played against Maine, didn't he? He was like in the 8th tier or something. And he played very well. And he had one game back against Brighton. He didn't do well. He didn't have any service whatsoever. And he's back on the bench again, So yeah. I don't understand in what world Bergwijn gets played over Gareth Bale. I don't understand it at all. Because, Bergwijn is a great player. And it's like comparing apples and pears. But it's Gareth Bale, And obviously we're dead biased being Welsh people and everything. But... Yeah. For me, it's a madness. Why wouldn't you use him? He sat there on the bench. He's one of the best players in British history.
Yeah.
So he just, as far as I'm concerned, it's impossible to judge him and judge his time back at Tottenham when he hasn't had a string of games. It's impossible. So I don't know. Everybody's got an opinion on it, innit? But for me, I think my opinion is that it's not fair to have an opinion because he hasn't played.
Yeah, that's more or less what I was thinking, to be honest. We're basically rehashing the same points we were making last round of qualifiers when he was out of favour with Madrid, and he had that potential loan move to China, and did they tank it to wind him up or something?
Yeah, God, I
All
forgot about
childish stuff. Apparently, I don't know if this is true. It's what I've read
Mm.
on Twitter, which I should not get my sports news from.
that.
But like we're just saying the same things we were back then. Like, he's getting up there, so he might lose a yard of pace here and there, but he's our talismanic player. He needs to play.
It's a
Where
really
can he
good
go
point.
where he's going to get a run of games? And
Exactly.
that was the whole idea of going to Tottenham, like you said, and he's not. So, like, what is he going to do?
Well, it's not just that. Like you said, he's lost a yard of pace, of course, but he hasn't. As a mature player, he's not had a time to. He's not had any sort of run of games to adapt his play, so he doesn't know his own game probably at this point now. Because he knows he's not the player he was. He knows he hasn't got that lightning pace to beat people on the outside, but he hasn't had a chance to sort of learn or adapt or change his game to suit his abilities that remain. And when you've got a coach like Zidane who's just washed his hands of him, he's definitely not going to be having that coaching either, not just the training but the coaching on how to mature and adapt his game. So it's for me it's impossible. It's a shame. It feels like a waste in so many ways. But for me, I don't see the blame being with Bale. I see it in other people's hands.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting what you said about immature in his game, sort of developing his possession slightly. Because I always thought when he aged a bit, because he did sort of play as like a false nine striker type occasionally. Ronaldo sort of developed from a wide attacking forward winger type, sort of moved more centrally. He's banging goals in. Exactly. I don't know why no one's tried to do that with Bale, because he's good. He's solid in the air. Cracking finisher, elite finisher. If he's slowing down, get him in the box, finishing.
Yeah, man. I've never seen the problem with trying him out in the centre of the pack either. I mean, he started as defender. You don't just lose those defensive instincts, do you? I mean, of course, he's a bit weaker now. Like he always suffers with injuries now. But why couldn't he do a job as a number 10 or number 8? As a creative body in the middle.
He's always pinging diagonals across the field. Everyone praises. I know you're a Liverpool fan, but everyone baffles on about the Liverpool fullbacks doing that constantly. No one ever gave Gareth Bale props for doing that. You've noticed that when we've watched games before, like
100%.
It
would be dead. It'd be dead interesting to see him going back as a left back. Wouldn't that be weird to see?
Yeah, I've always thought maybe a left wing back if we're gonna go with a 5 at the back again anytime, maybe.
I don't see any problem with it, and that would accommodate for the national squad as well. That would accommodate, bringing in, having David Brooks on the right, maybe, or even Harry Wilson on the right, and Dan James on the left there. Because it's a big dilemma that we've got with the national team now, is that we've got all of these players coming through, a problem we've never had before, and it's like, well, how do we get them all into one team?
Yeah.
And how does it not end up top heavy? Because I remember when Giggs first came in, it was exactly what we were saying then, that like there doesn't, there's no coherency or anything, because he was playing Wilson, Brooks, Dan James on the left, Gareth Bale, and it had nothing to it. It was falling apart really easy. The game that sticks out for me is the Hungary game when we lost to them. I think it was 2-0 we lost, and it was just like.
Yeah, I think it was that away. Was that the away game?
Yeah, because we won the repeat, and that was the last game of the
that was it.
Qualifiers. But it was that game, I think, that it twigged in Giggs' head that we needed a more balanced squad, and they chucked in Kiefer Moore.
Ballon d'Or.
Kiefer Moore for the Ballon d'Or.